Good morning, students. How are you? I hope all are fine at home. In the previous lesson, we learnt about tissues and types of tissues. Types of tissue, for example, plants tissue and animal tissues. Living world and living things are quite mysteries. This is the reason scientists are trying to unfold the mystery of nature by constantly discovering new things from century till date. Be it a different variety of the flowers, forest and organism. But the major questions which I am sure strikes everyone is what living and what make it different from non-livings. What does word living mean and how can we define it? Now let's tackle this question and clearly understand about living and living things in detail. The millions of different species and organisms on the earth in various ecosystems. It would be easy to study each one in detail, of course not, and therefore there are evolved a system of categorizing the organism into different groups. Let us study these types of classification. Classification means the process in which closely resembling organisms are placed in a group. The group which have similarity are placed into large group. The various grouping level or rank in classification are known as a taxonomic categories. Let's learn more about taxonomy in this section below. Plane of classification. While classifying living beings, scientists follow a general plan. They classify all living beings into broad category on the basis of some common features. This category are called kingdom. A kingdom of the broadest unit is classifications. To begin with, the scientists divided into entire living world in two kingdoms, in the kingdom of plants and the kingdom of animals. Later they ran to difficult because some organisms turned out to have features of both the plant and animals. They also features of found that many unicellular organisms lacked a true membrane-bounded nucleus. Scientists termed this organism prokaryotics. Pro means before and karyon means nut or kernel in Greek because they appeared before the organism with a membrane bounded nucleus. Organisms that have the membrane bounded nucleus were termed eukaryotes. Eukaryotic may be unicellular or multicellular. All these things made it necessary to receive the kingdom system of classifications. Now, the living world is divided into 5 kingdoms. The kingdom of prokaryotic unicellular organism, that is bacteria, is called kingdom Monera. Eukaryotic unicellular organisms such as amoeba belong to the kingdom Protista. The organism can exist singly or in colony of individual but never form true tissues. The third kingdom consists of fungi and is hence called kingdom fungi. The kingdom consists of unicellular organisms such as yeast as well as multicellular organisms such as bread mold and mushrooms. The fourth and fifth kingdom are kingdom of plant and kingdom of animals. The first or top level of the classification system is the domain. Domain is the most number of individual in the group since it is the broadest level. The domain level helps to distinguish between the cells. Currently, there are the 3 types of domains which include bacteria, archaea and eukarya. Kingdoms or level which are broken down from the domains. There are the 6 kingdoms which include eubacteria, archaebacteria, plant, animal, fungi and protista. While kingdom are little more specific, it should still be relatively easy to categorize living organism based on the kingdom. Phylum. The phylum is the next level in the classification system and is the use to group living organisms together based on some common features. Good example to consider: when you sort your laundry by item of cloth, your socks aren't all the same. You most likely group them together and put them in the same dresser drawer. Consider the animal kingdom. There is the phylum group called Chordata, and it refers to all animal with a spinal column. As the human, we are also part of the chordate phylum. Like the plant kingdom, phyla is broken down into divisions. Class and orders. This class level is another way to group together organisms that are alike, but it's become even more specific than phylum. There are more than 100 classes, but some of the more common ones that you will likely use on a regular basis in biology class include the vertebrates, invertebrates, dicot or monocot. Order. As you might guess, the order is just another way to break down the class of the plants and animals. Think of it as refining your search. Some order include carnivorous, primates, rodents, and fagels, and pinnals, etc. Next one, family. The next level in the classifications of living organism in categorized much like the group of people that we call family. We are all different, but we share enough similarity that we belong in the same family. The same applies to all living things. Genus and species. The genus, the first part of the living things, is scientific name, also known as binomial nomenclature. Let's look at lion and tiger for example. Scientific name of the lion is the Panthera leo and the tiger is Panthera tigris. Panthera is the genus. And the next one is species. Species. The species is the final and most specific level of the classification system. The best way to describe the species is a group of organisms that are best suited for breeding healthy offspring which can also continue to reproduce. What is nomenclature? A system through which organisms, including plants, animals, microorganisms, and other living things, are given distinct scientific name is called nomenclatures. In biology, each group of the organism, be it plant or animal or microorganism, is already classified under the special divisions according to the similarity and features. Therefore, this living organism should also have the common name system that make it easier to understand them better. A common system of naming is essential so that is made to widely accepted throughout the world. Now that we know why scientific names are used and how they are written, let us look at the hierarchical system of creating these names. Linnaeus developed a system that went from the broad to most specific. The level of classifications used are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. You can see the genus and species are the two most specific category, which is why they are used binomial nomenclature to identify an organism. The binomial nomenclature system is a formal system of naming that was introduced by the scientist Carolus Linnaeus. He is regarded as the founder of the modern taxonomy. His book are considered as the beginning of the modern biological nomenclature. They outline the rule for the allocating name to plant and animal in certain format. In the system, there are certain rules that are followed while naming organism. The standard set of rules is applicable to the plants and animal while giving them unique name within the given system. According to the system, each organism is known by two names, the genus name and the species name. These names are all written in Latin. The genus name and the species name of organism written together are called its scientific name. Some rules that are followed while writing this name are mentioned. The name of the genus always begin with a capital letter. The species name begin with a small letter. The scientific name are always Latin or Italic. When handwriting, the genus name and species names have to be underlined. A few example of name of organism written this system. A few example of name of organism written the system: Homo sapiens, human beings. Helianthus and a sunflower plant, Panthera trigeris, Mangifera indica, mango plant, Canis lupus familiaris, dog. Can you guess us what organism are pictured here? There are the fat green worm on a red leaf. Here is clue. There are more organisms like this than any other on earth. Here is another clue. Each organism consists of a single cell without a nucleus. This organism or bacteria called Salmonella. If the word Salmonella rings a bell, that is probably because Salmonella causes human diseases such as the food poisoning. Many other types of bacteria also causes human diseases. Evolution of bacteria. Bacteria first arose on the earth approximately 4 billion years ago and they were the first form of life on the earth. For 3 billion years, bacteria and archaea were the most prevalent kind of organism on earth. Multicellular eukaryotes did not appear until around 1.6 to 2 billion years ago. Eukaryotic cells, which make up all protist, fungi, animals, and plants, also contain what was once bacteria. It is thought that is the mitochondria in eukaryotes, which produce energy through the cellular respiration, and chloroplast in the plants and algae, which produce energy through the photosynthesis. Bacteria are single-celled microorganisms with prokaryotic cells, which are single cells that do not have organelles. Organelles means mitochondria, nucleus, vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulums are a true nucleus and are less complex than eukaryotic cells. Bacteria with capital B refer to the domain. Bacteria, one of the three domain of life. The other two domain of life are archaea, member of which are also single celled organism with prokaryotic cells and eukaryotes. Bacteria are single-celled organisms. They lack organelles such as chloroplast and mitochondria and they do not have the true nucleus found in the eukaryotic cells. Instead, the DNA are double-stranded, that is continuous and circular, located in nucleoid. Reproductions. Reproductions occurs through the binary fissions, which is the splitting of a bacteria cells after reach the certain size. Bacteria reproduce asexually, so the two daughter cells that result from binary fissions have the same DNA as the parent cells. However, some bacteria can also exchange genetic material among one another in the process known as horizontal gene transfer. This method involves two already existing bacteria. It is not a form of transmission from parent to child. There are three basic shapes of bacteria: coccus, bacillus, and spiral. Based on the plane of division, the coccus shape can be appeared the several distinct arrangement: Diplococcus, Streptococcus, tetrad, Sarcina, and Staphylococcus. The bacillus shape can appear as a single bacillus, a Streptobacillus, or Coccobacillus. Cocci are bacteria that are the spherical or ovoid in shape. Some cocci remain attached after binary fissions, even though separate cells have been formed. For example, diplococci or cocci in pair, streptococci are chains, and staphylococci are cluster of multiple cocci. Tetrad, a square arrangement of four cocci, while sarcina are cups of the eight cocci. Bacillus or rod-shaped bacteria like cocci bacilli can be solitary or arranged together. Diplococci are two bacilli arranged next to each other, and Staphytobacillus or chain of bacilli. And the next one, spiral. Spiral bacteria are the name of suggested spiral shaped. Spirillum or thick touch spirals. Spiral sheet or spiral that are thin and flexible. Vibrio or the comma shaped rod with a small crest. Bacteria can also be other shapes such as the filamentous, long and thin, square, star shaped or stalked. This diagram depicts the numerous shape of the bacteria. While few types of bacteria or autotrophs make their own food by utilizing solar energy like plants do, while others use energy stored in certain chemicals. The vast majority of the bacteria are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means dependent on other for food. Some of these lead saprophytic extents. They obtain nutrients from dead and decaying plant or animal matter. Some are commensalisms. Commensals, the species that benefit from the association may obtain nutrient, shelter, support, or locomotion from the host species, which is unaffected. The commensals relation often between the large host and a small commensals. The host organism is essentially unchanged by the interactions, whereas the commensal species may be show the great morphological adaptation. This relationship can be contracted with mutualism in which both species benefit. Next one, symbiote. The symbiote organism that is very closely associated with another usually large organism. This large organism is called host. Symbiont can live on the or sometime very nearest host. There are two general categories of symbiote, ectosymbiote and endosymbiotics. Ectobiotism live outside of their host cells. For example, the bacteria living on your skin and in your digestive tract or ectosymbiont. This bacteria can be very helpful for fighting of harmful microorganisms. Endosymbiote, on this other hand, live inside other host cells. Some plants, for examples, have the ectosymbiote bacteria living inside the root cells, helping the plants grow. Symbiotic relationship is the interaction of the symbiont species and host species. This interacting species can affect each other in positive or negative way or sometimes not at all. There are six possible types of symbiotic relationship: parasitism, mutualism, commensalism, amensalism, and etc. Next, we will discuss about uses of bacteria. Bacteria and human have many important relationships. Bacteria make our life easier in a number of ways. In fact, we could not survive without them. On the other hand, bacteria can also make us sick. Benefits of bacteria. Bacteria provide vital ecosystem services. There are important decomposers. They are also needed for the carbon and nitrogen cycles. There are billions of bacteria inside the human intestines. They help digest food, make vitamin and play other important role. Humans also use bacteria in many other ways, including creating products such as ethanol and enzyme, making drugs such as antibiotics and vaccine, making biogas such as methane, cleaning up oil spills and toxic waste, killing plant pests. Harmful bacteria are called pathogenic bacteria because they causes diseases and illnesses like throat infections, cholera, tuberculosis, and food poisoning also. You have 10 times as many bacteria as human cells in your body. Most of these bacteria are harmless. However, bacteria can also cause diseases. Example of bacterial diseases include tetanus, and food poisoning. Bacteria may spread directly from one person to another. For example, they can spread through the touching, cough, and sneezings. They may be also spread by food, water, and objectives. Another way bacteria and other pathogenic can spread by the vector. A vector is organisms that spread pathogens from host to host. Insect are the most common vector of human diseases. Controlling bacteria. Bacteria, food, or water usually can be killed by heating into high temperature, generally at least 71 degrees Celsius or 160 Fahrenheit. Bacteria on many surfaces can be killed with chlorine, bleaching, or other disinfections. Bacterial infection is people can be treated with antibiotic drugs. For example, if you ever had strep throat, you are properly treated with an antibiotics. I hope everyone understands these lessons. Today biology assignment, learn question answer.